Welcome to another Off the Post special edition, Get to Know Your Panelist. Like everyone else was said, I'm not DJ Redcap. I'm Danielle Russel, the resident FC Kansas City fan on the Panelist. Just doing my Get to Know You. So I'm going to answer a couple of the basic questions. And then earlier this week, the crew gave me some suggestions of some other things I can answer. So you can kind of guess who might have asked me by how weird they are. So let's get going. First off, who I am. Like I said, I'm Danielle. Where I'm from Des Moines, Iowa, born and raised. My whole life minus a 3-year stint on the East Coast. That 3-year stint, though, is what really got me into soccer, which I'll talk about later. So that was a successful stint. So I guess going right into the next question, how did I get into WOSO? I don't want to be kind of a stereotype, but I am. While I remember the '08 Olympics, I was into it. I remember Tasha Kai. I remember all that. I was a college football state. We love our Hawkeyes. We love our Cyclones. Go State. So soccer just isn't a thing. It's getting better, but back in '08 it wasn't. So after the Olympics, the hype kind of went away. And so I remember in 2010 where I worked, my boss at the time, watched the World Cup, and I should remember the game, but I remember this really exciting U.S. game, and I was like, okay, soccer might not be that bad. So then, I moved a couple months later, and where I lived was really into soccer, mostly EPL. But also, MLS with the Red Bulls. I was in New Jersey. So, at work, I worked a lot on Sundays. So I'd have at a retail job, my second job. And so, a lot of the guys would always have their scores. So I started watching, and the World Cup obviously was that year, the 2011 World Cup. And, just like everybody else got me into it. So kind of, would watch. Was getting into it in between after the World Cup, and then obviously London just solidified it. I remember watching it at work, my big girl job where I had an office, and I just remember it would be those early games and having to watch it but be stone-faced, pretending I wasn't watching soccer at my desk. And I remember one incident where my boss comes in the office and he's at the door, and I think it was the New Zealand game where Sid had that goal. So he's talking to me. I have one eye on the game, and Sid scores, and I have to stone face, not react. And it was the probably best acting of my life. But I watched that Canada game, had that day off, and just went into the deep obsession. And that next year was the first year of the league, of the NWSL. And because I lived near a team, I did volunteer for them. I love to say that, they were my team. Unfortunately, I just never made that connection, which kind of goes into the next question, why I support FCKC. So while I volunteered for the team out there, I was, country over club, just never, I was more about the players than the team. I was one of those fans. And when I moved home to Iowa, and I bought FCKC tickets because I wanted to support the league. And so I came down the first game, went to the tailgate with Blue Crew because I wanted to find people like me, people who liked soccer. And I remember just kind of standing there awkwardly, and this girl walks up, is like, all right, we're not talking to anyone else. Let's talk. Let's become friends. So she's now one of my best friends. But she got me to sit with Blue Crew, and through going to these games, just seeing their dedication for the team really inspired me. But what really got me into FCKC and made me fall for them was how FC Kansas City, the players, supported their fans. They just, watching them adore their fans, every game. Leanne Robinson, Liz Bogus always would come over, and I just fell head over heels for this team. And, I hope I don't seem like a bandwagoner because we did win the championship, but I just, it made that connection. And I am hardcore FC Kansas City all the way. And so yeah, that's how I support it. I'm with this club till the bitter end. So next question, hobbies. So one thing that most people apparently don't know about me, I know DJ was shocked to hear, is I'm a big nerd. I am a really big nerd. I'm wearing a Deadpool shirt. I mean, I'm over there. You should see my figurine collection. So other than soccer, my big thing is, you know, supporting my habit. I tend to actually go to a lot of Comic Cons, but mostly in Texas for some reason. My friends live down there, so it's easy. So I do Comic Con, stuff like that. I'm a nerd, so that's who I am. So the next part of this get to know me is the questions from the panelists. So like I said, it's a little different. Some are serious, some are not. So we'll kind of go through. The first question was, who's the coolest FC Kansas City player to hang out with? I've never I wouldn't say I've ever hung out with players, so I don't want to give that impression, but Blue Crew has been very blessed with the supportive team, like I said. And so through, you know, post-game activities and, you know, the championship stuff and a lot of things, I've been able to talk to a lot of the players. I'd have to say one of my favorite players to talk to and I hang out after games would be Leanne Robinson. I can't say enough about how cool she was, how good she was to us. I miss her a lot. Hopefully, I think she's supposed to come out to a game this season, so that would be really cool. Current player to talk to would be Nicole Barnhart. Everybody thinks she's quiet. Everyone thinks she's shy and reserved, and she is. But once you get her, she's a troll. She's great, and I love talking to Barney. She's just one of the coolest people, and because, like I said, she's a troll. So there's that. All right, next question. What country would I like to host Women's World Cup? So I've spent kind of the week thinking about this, and you know, I kind of have two trains of thought. My first idea would be a country that's really put a lot of support into the women's game. You know, you have some countries that are kind of, you know, you have the team out there, and there you go. Definitely want to reward these countries that are really putting a emphasis on their women's game. Problem is, I want it to be a country where I don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to watch games because I'm getting old and that's past my bedtime and that's too early. So, you know, I don't really have a great answer because for the sake of my sleep schedule, I always want it to be America. So I'm selfish. But, you know, countries like Australia and stuff like that would be really cool. The next question, I will completely sell this guy out. It was DJ who asked, if I were to break into Lauren Holiday's house, what would I steal? And my answer is nothing, because she's a saint, and that's a terrible question. Plus, I'd get there, she'd be like, 1, how did you find my house? 2, why are you here? And 3, what do you want? I can give you anything. She's great. I originally was gonna be like, maybe Loki, but I don't think Drew would appreciate me stealing the dog. So that is a terrible question, DJ. I would never steal from Lauren Holiday. Next question, what's my favorite book? And so this one was hard because I, over the last couple of years, this kind of goes with an earlier question, I've kind of gone more nerdy. So I read more comic books than anything right now. So kind of thinking through, I like, you know, I like Black Widow. She's one of my favorite characters. So I like a lot of her books. Elektra, Captain Marvel, that you can see a theme here. All of these characters, you know, strong women. Marvel, because Marvel has Marvel Unlimited, and so I don't have to pay an arm and a leg to keep up with my comic book obsession. I'm 6 months behind on everything, but it's worth it. So those are my favorite series. I'd have to say my favorite book, should have put that on silent, is probably the latest Miss Marvel, on, you know, that first book, probably because of how important it was, having a teenager who is Muslim and, you know, it doesn't erase her identity and all that. It's a really important book series, so it's probably my favorite comic books of all time because of that. But Captain Marvel's my favorite character, so any book with her is also usually one of my favorites. I'm kind of going through this fast, so that's not bad. So I was hoping I would take too much time so I could skip this last one, but I think Jen Hayes would not appreciate it. And that was my NWSL like best 11 with the really hard restrictions, 4 internationals, 1 from each team, and this is really hard. So if I would have done this preseason, I think it would have been easier because I am really into FCKC mode, and my biases are getting in the way. So I was going through this. My for sure's, Becky Sauerbrunn. I mean, come on. So that's, one of the internationals. That's the FCKC. I'd probably put Dunn on there. I love Dunn. Another FCKC, because with 11, I get 1 duplicate for teams. A non-international Mandy Laddish, because I am probably I'm one of her biggest fans, and I will talk your ear off about how great of a season she had last year. So I'll put her in the mid. I kind of got off track. Keeper, I put Michelle Betos, Portland player. She's non-international, great person. I also had in my backline Cassie Coleman because I like her, and FCKC. Calaprico, I had in the mid, Sam Ewis, and I'm just not going to read the rest. Kim Little from Seattle, obviously, and I'm not going to read the rest, so I can get yelled at later by Jen, but it was really hard, and I've had a bad week, so, let it slide. So that was my get to know me segment. Follow me on Twitter. I just changed my handle. But I am now DCOM Blue Crew, kind of a reference to Blue Crew in a show I used to like. It's DKOMBLUKRU. So give me a follow if you have any additional questions. Otherwise, keep watching off the post, and I will be on some shows here coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I hope to see you then. Thanks, guys.